Our third speaker and final speaker in this opening set is Vincent Doumeizel. He's the Senior Advisor on Oceans at the UN Global Compact, and he's Director for the Food Program at Lloyd's Register Foundation. He's also co-leading the Safe Seaweed Coalition, the first ever global platform for seaweed stakeholders, www.safeseaweedcoalition.com. Check it out, register for free, be part of this coalition. Over to you, Vincent, for your remarks.
Thank you very much, Rajul. And on behalf of UNGC Ocean Action Platform, who is convening this dialogue, I would like to really thank all of you for being here with us. It is so important indeed to have this. It is so important because if you think about it, we moved from apes to Homo sapiens, notably because we used to eat a lot of seaweed. Indeed, scientists recently highlighted that in order to trigger the genetic change to enable the massive growth of our brain compared to our body mass, our ancestors had to intake a lot of long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids that are present only in algae and oil fishes. So ultimately, we are what we are, not only because we were good at hunting mammoths, we are what we are also because we were gifted at collecting weakling seaweed and fishes. If you look back, the oldest trace of seaweed used both as food and medicines is more than 14,000 years old in the south of Chile. And we know that sapiens established in America following the Pacific coast through what is now called the Kelp Highway, a coastline full of seaweed and hosting an incredibly rich marine ecosystem. And they did that because that's what our ancestors and the First Nations were used to it. Still, over the last 2,000 years, we lost that intimate connection with the ocean. And we lost most of our knowledge about what should be called sea vegetable and not seaweed, because that's what it is. It's vegetable. It's much more than weed. We lost this knowledge everywhere, but in North Asia, where possibly the influence of the traditional Chinese medicine maintain a very close link between the food system and the health system. And I think that's something we should bear in mind in this complicated time. Seaweed intake represents up to 10% of the daily food in Japan. And it seems to have an important and positive impact on life expectancy and the low occurrence of some non-communicable disease, such as obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. In the meantime, here, as stated by Martin, we have almost 1 billion people going to bed hungry every night. We have 300,000 additional people to feed every day on the planet, and our food system has reached maximum production capacities on land. So our current food systems is still massively contributing to climate change, land and ocean pollution, water scarcity, soil depletion, and quite often social injustice. In the meantime, ocean covers 70% of our planet and contribute to less than 3% of our food in calorie supply. There's a growth avenue there. So ultimately, we're walking on the moon, but we are still in the Stone Age with the ocean, being hunters-gatherers, unable to cultivate and understand most of the 12,000 or so different type of seaweed, and very different indeed. Remember, a red seaweed is genetically more different to a green seaweed than a fungi is to an elephant. It means there is an unlimited potential for innovation there for food, medicines, and so much more. So I have with me here, it's not a seaweed glass, actually, a glass made of seaweed. That, talking about plastic-free, there may be a revolution cooking here. I have another material here, which is very strong, which is very heavy, and which is fully made of seaweed. It's not wood, it's stronger than marble, but it's made of seaweed. So, well, unlimited potential. But back to food, because that's our topic. Sea vegetable is, as we said, full of healthy nutrients, a lot of them. It does not need land, nor fresh water, nor pesticides, nor cages, because it's quite unlikely to run or swim away, actually. As 70% of the world population is living less than 100 kilometers from the sea vegetable is also quite often a very, very local food. Seaweed should not be, indeed, as mentioned before, considered only for its potential for human consumption. There are so much positive impact through the use of seaweed as a source of feed for animals, biostimulants for plants. Seaweed is also sequestering massively carbon and sinking it part of it, at least, in the seabed under the ocean, where it used to be for millenniums. And as such, it becomes the only food that really reverses climate change. Some seaweed can grow 30 centimeters a day. up to 60 meters high. This is more than any vegetal you can find in tropical forest. So seaweed is also a way to restore abundance in our ocean and create a really regenerative aquaculture. That's where the link with blue food, as stated by Martin, is very important. Seaweed is hosting marine life and providing natural resources to ecosystem. It goes beyond sustainability. And if I have to talk frankly about it, sustainability is a word made up 50 years ago. And since then, we have lost more than 50% of the ocean ecosystem. Sustainability and preservation are not relevant words anymore for the ocean. We should fight for restoration and regeneration. And ocean farming is the only way to realize this. Eventually, seaweed also offers a unique opportunity to create new jobs and revenue to coastal communities, notably in emerging countries, which is why we have a focused session today on Africa. Recent experience in East Africa and Southeast Asia showed that most of seaweed revenues and positions there were held by fishermen's wives. As such, seaweed creates an opportunity for women empowerment and gender equity. The only sector in aquaculture which is dominated by women, and that's very important. Of course, there's a lot of technical challenge ahead of us and a lot of innovation and academic research and investment required to really farm the sea. But convening this dialogue and bringing together experts like you all is a unique opportunity to build a roadmap in order to position seaweed as a game-changing and natural-based solution for our food system. This is our duty now. It is now time to get together, supporting by influencers and chefs like Mauro, by institutional leaders like Martin, and more than anything, supported by your experience about food system, about marine biology, about communication, about impact investment. Get together and connect back to our very intimate link with this ocean where we all come from. We should harness this fantastic knowledge we have here, and we have to build a new regenerative food system, a new system interconnecting land and ocean production. And seaweed may well be the keystone in this one. All together, and it can only be all together. We should be remembered as the first generation on this planet who managed to provide safe and sustainable food for everyone while mitigating climate change and improving social justice. This is the challenge of our generation. And in this fight, seaweed may well be our greatest untapped resource. All in all, I'm not sure we can save the ocean, but I'm sure the ocean can save us. Thank you very much, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you, Vincent, for that very powerful, inspirational, passionate speech and really motivating us.